purification instructions for a woman if she conceives and gives birth to a male child versus if she conceives and gives birth to a female child. For both male and female, the mother is considered ritually unclean for 7 days, but after that, the instructions diverge. The male is circumcised on the 8th day, and the mother remains unclean another 33 days, totaling 40 days. On the other hand, the period of uncleanness for a female child is twice as long, 80 days. And there is, of course, no difference. When the days of her purification are completed for a male or female child, the mother then brings a burnt offering of a lamb and a sin offering of a turtle dove or pigeon to the Kohen, which he presents before Adonai to make atonement for her. After that, she is considered clean and can re-enter the sanctuary. It's important to note here that in order to ensure that any mother can fulfill this requirement, God allows for a less expensive offering of 2 pigeons or turtle doves if the mother cannot afford a lamb. Chapter 13 deals exclusively with the diagnosis of an unusual disease called Surat, often mistranslated as leprosy. It is unusual because it is considered to be a spiritual malady manifested physically on the skin, garment, or walls of a house. If a person finds that he or she has a strange mark, swelling, or scab on their body, they are to go before the Kohen, who will point out that this is not a doctor, but after examining her and possibly quarantining the individual, will determine whether that person has contracted the particular plague or not. The entire chapter goes into great detail about the various forms of that Surat can take, where on the body to appear, and how to determine if it is or is not Surat. The person who is declared to have this disease must wear torn clothing, have his hair hang loose, and cover his upper lip and cry unclean, unclean as he goes around, so that no one comes near him or her for as long as he or she has Surat. They must also dwell outside the camp for the duration of their uncleanness. So it is a lonely existence. So what can we glean from all of this? Well, the rabbis say that we were more sensitive to sin back then, so that wrongdoing more quickly manifested itself in a physical way. This is like the incident of Ananias and Sapphira recounted in Acts chapter 5, who lied to the Ruach and lost their lives as a result. The believing community was younger then and more sensitive to sin. Today, there is far less sensitivity. Furthermore, the sages believe this supernatural disease appeared because there is no temple, and Bnei Israel is in exile as such. So, what is the sin that causes Surat? The rabbis have listed several, but the main one is malicious gossip, commonly known as Lashon Hara. For example, Miriam, sister of Moses and Aaron, contracted Surat when she spoke against Moses. Chapter 14 is the start of the parashat Metzorah. A Metzorah is a person who has contracted Surat. Parashat Metzorah lays out all the procedures for purification for a person, garment, or house that has the mark, and they are lengthy. As regards to an affected person, there are 3 different ceremonies. One is performed by the Kohen involving 2 birds, one killed and the other released, symbolizing the taking away of uncleanness. The second is performed by the afflicted person on the 1st day and repeated on the 7th day. He or she must have bodily and facial hair, bathe, wash clothes, and enter the camp, but not his tent. On the 8th day, the 3rd and final step is to bring 5 different offerings, trespass, wave, burnt, sin, and grain offerings, to the Kohen to make atonement and whatever else the Kohen is required to do, including placing blood, then oil on the right ear, thumb, and big toe of the person being purified. After all of this, the person is finally pronounced clean and can fully enter the life of the community. From all of this, one can see that no one wants to contract the disease of Surat. This makes what Yeshua did, as recounted in Luke chapter 17, particularly wonderful. 10 lepers, that is, men with Surat, standing some distance away from Yeshua because they are unclean, beg Yeshua to have mercy on them, which meant to heal them. Yeshua tells them to present themselves to the Kohanim, as that is what the Torah instructs to do. Verse 14 says that, and as they went, they were cleansed. So Yeshua didn't heal them on the spot. Instead, he asked them to follow the normal procedure, and because they obeyed, they were healed. If, as the rabbis suggest, Surat is caused by sin, then the cleansing also meant that their sins were forgiven. Metzorah ends in chapter 15 with a discussion about bodily discharges for men and women and how they are to be handled. The overall tone of this week's reading is that we need to be clean before Adonai so that we can have fellowship. And I'll be chanting from chapter 14, verses 33 to 36, which deals with the Kohen inspecting the house.